Hi, my name is Dan Sullivan. I am doing my first infusion for this book, QBQ, which I just finished reading. What I did was pretty much went through a Word document, listed my first impressions with what I was reading, and I'm going to elaborate on those points a little bit in this infusion. So, in Chapter 1, he says, if you're frustrated by what you see as a lack of responsibility in others, this book is for you. After reading the book, I determined that wasn't actually true, because the entire book was about me, not about other people. The book doesn't seem to do very much when it comes to mitigating the frustration from a lack of responsibility in others. It's kind of like saying, okay, if I give 110%, that's great, but I'm not going to do other people's work. So if they do 50%, then I'm going to end up getting screwed because my extra effort doesn't do anything to bring up the whole group average, you know? Which would really suck in this entrepreneurship class if I get screwed over by my group, which I'm hoping I don't. But I'm going to do my best to make sure that we stay on track. So, then he says, even deciding not to choose is making a choice. But later he says that not choosing indicates fear, doubt, and a proclivity towards procrastination, as I saw it. And I think that's a decent point. I think we need to be wary of being paralyzed by the wealth of information around us, and you really just have to make the best decision you can in the moment. I appreciate his assertion that stress is a choice, but I also say that stress isn't necessarily bad. I often use it as a motivator to get my work done so that I can kind of just check everything off my list and then sit back and relax. One of my favorite quotes in the whole book is succeeding within the box. That's just so great, I think, because it takes a great deal of creativity, I think, to work within the constraints of wherever you are. Okay, the blame game, which I think is an inefficient but necessary evil. And it's just the world we live in today, you know, when you're in such a competitive sort of workplace environment, you gotta look out for number one. And that sucks because no one else will. Like, if the guy down the hall isn't doing his job, right, that needs to be brought to light because he's gonna drag down the entire firm. It's inefficient because it would be great to keep that guy on board and keep him learning and growing within the firm, but there's this whole like climbing the ladder, dog eat dog philosophy that just makes it that that's not going to be happening anytime soon. There's always going to be the blame game going on, unfortunately. My second favorite quote is beat the ref. It's kind of similar to the box quote, kind of just doing the best that you possibly can, which I think is really cool. But as a pretty avid fan of a professional football team, blaming the ref is sometimes pretty nice. Then he told a story about the static in his phone line and how 3 people had to come to his house, which really frustrated me personally because that just means they're not doing their job correctly. Like, my family had a similar experience where our internet kept dropping out, and we had like so many guys come to our house and fiddle around with the router and the modem and all of that just to get it working for a few hours and then have it drop a signal later on in the evening. And it was like, come on, dude, like what are we paying you for? Which kind of brings me to my next point. I can only change me, right? That's what the author says. But isn't the author trying to change us? I mean, I was trying to think of what kind of reaction I would get if I recommended this to like one of my roommates or one of my like other friends or someone in my family. And I feel like I would just get the response like, you think I need to be more personally accountable? Like, what are you saying, Dan? Okay, my least favorite part about the whole book was believe or leave, which is the author's philosophy that if you don't agree with the sort of values and ideas that your company exhibits, then you should search for an opportunity elsewhere. And that is ridiculous. In an economy like this, you need to take what you can get, I think. And maybe I'm just being pessimistic because I'm a college student, but at this point, I don't think people have that kind of flexibility in their career path. So yeah, overall it was a pretty good read. I would like to recommend it to other people without getting slapped in the face. But yeah, that's it.